Wednesday, November the 29th, 2023, and I wish to call to order this work session in Monroe County Board of Commissioners. We have two items on our agenda. The first is our written plan that we will be sending off to the state on the use of food and beverage tax funds. Mr. Cockrell, would you like to present? Or
Yes,
do we need a motion first?
I was just going to motion to approve that the Monroe County written plan for the use of food and beverage tax funds in accordance with IC 694114.
Second.
Yes, as we are all aware, the state legislature recently, last year, made changes that would require us to submit a plan for the food and beverage, indicating how we used it, what the balance was at the beginning of last year, and then how we intend to use it in the future. And just as a reminder that statute says we have to expend money in accordance with this plan prior to July 1, 2025. And so the plan as it is composed indicates the food and beverage money we had used in prior years, which essentially was our COVID support for local restaurants and tourism related industries. The balance, I don't have it in front of me, but the balance as of January 1, 2023 was indicated in it. And then it talks about how we're going to utilize the funds in the future. The primarily enumerated uses deal with the quarry park is how I've referred to it, the quarry in the uplands. With the property we purchased on the northwest corner of I-69 and 46 is out, and kind of not included in that, but maybe a good update as we're talking about this is working, I think Steve Kreider is a developer who owns a lot of land. We do have an agreement that he is going to build the Hunter Valley Connector Road, which I think will help with this. He is currently dealing with, and too bad Lisa's not here, if she could commiserate with him, the process for the map revisions through the FEMA process for the floodplain. And so once that road is complete, I think that will open up a lot more opportunities that I think the planning should be involved in that. But primarily it's for design and review of that site to utilize it as a tourist attraction that brings people to Monroe County. I think at this point, it's not the full scope of the things. I think the vision is long-term to have a lot of different uses looked at to determine what should go there, up to and including a museum of the limestone industry. So that's part of it. It also talks about the trail system we have and looking at that and looking at funding for that, because that is a tourism related. And I think that a lot depends on where the trail is and things like that, but that is a tourism related item. And so those are kind of the essential things that are in the plan.
Thank you.
So a lot of these numbers came from our regional opportunity grant application. We did receive the grant, but then we did not buy the last bit of property in time. So we returned the grant, but we may apply for more for that grant again. But the idea, I can see why park comes up, but it is really so much more than that, because this truly can be an economic development driver. Everything from corporate events, not-for-profit meetings, weddings, potentially food service, available, the limestone symposium, limestone carving, and an outdoor museum to start with, to really embrace the limestone history of this county. And then potentially, hopefully in the future, an indoor archive and classroom space that I think would really sort of round out that educational experience and that historical experience. it's a really exciting prospect to have everything from trails and botanical gardens and dark sky, astronomy meetings, because believe it or not, it's a dark sky space there, to poetry readings, to concerts and theatrical events. And the list goes on and on. There's so many potentials. But the very first thing we have to do is develop a plan based on what the community sees and what the community imagines that space can be, because it is a huge space. There are some limitations to how we can use it, but I think that's going to be the most important thing that we do.
Well, and there's the site safety improvements that include parking and things like that at the site that would have to be part of what we would do.
Absolutely.
As part of the development of it.
Absolutely.
And I remember after we bought this that actually Mr. Cockrell sent us pictures of a quarry area up in, was it Greencastle?
Yes.
Yeah. There's
And so people do go to visit these things.
Yeah. There's, I have links to some. I'll send them to you. Illinois, and also some in Washington State, Canada, and then across the world. And to see the various things that have been done is just impressive, really impressive. So I think we have a lot more space than most of those folks do. So I think we can put a lot of things into that space and appeal to a lot of different interests in the community. But at the same time, it's wonderful because it's like that land between Ellisville, Steinsville, and Bloomington. But it's also wonderful because of the access to I-69. It's going to be a tourism driver for sure.
Well, and I said this last night, but being able to share with people outside this area that the limestone that was used to build the Pentagon and the Empire State Building and others, that came from this area. And so it has some real local tie-ins that nobody else would have.
Absolutely.
So I'm totally in favor of this. Do I have any public comment on this item? Do we have any public comment? Sorry.
No, you take it.
We both listen. Come on.
You take it.
Okay. We do have two people who wish to make public comment. The first is County Council President Kate Wiltz. Welcome.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, great. Sorry, I'm on my phone. Wasn't sure how this worked. I just wanted to express my support for the Quarry Park concept. And as you know from before, I think this is a really great opportunity for our community. In particular, I don't want us to lose sight of the opportunity for heritage history learning that can take place there, not just from the limestone industry perspective, but from the community's collective experience with the PCB issues that have plagued our community and in some cases still continue to be an issue. So I just wanted to throw that out there as a reminder, and I'm glad that you're looking toward hearing from the community on how to use the space. I think that's a great first step. As far as the overall plan goes, I wanted to encourage adding a more general language to the plan. We just saw this for the first time last night, so I had a chance to just look at it briefly. But I think it might behoove us to include general improvements to parks and trails in the county, in addition to work on this one site, and that might allow us some more flexibility as we kind of move forward on a really big long-term project. It'll keep us maybe able to consider multiple uses for these dollars. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. I think I'm not sure I stated it clearly last evening, but this is just for the next 18 months. We will be having to submit plans, and we do intend to expand and hope to expand what all we're working on. It's not just this one one place.
And everything listed in this plan is not going to get done in the next year either. This is a future plan as well. I will note that we do have a sentence at the end. If funding permits, we will look at the expansion and addition of park amenities for Monroe County trails, specifically to enhance tourism and community well-being. I would add a comma after park amenities. Or the word or. And or. How about that? And or. Park amenities and or. Because.
And or what?
The trails. This seems to only say trails, and that's not our intention.
Okay, so it's the addition of Monroe County park amenities and or trails.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can we?
Yeah, because I'm just gonna move that we make that, it's a Scrivener's error. I mean, we intended this to be about either or.
Right.
And it doesn't reflect that here. So Scrivener's error, we'll just call it that. And, okay.
Super.
Got it. All right.
Any other public comment? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote on the approval of the Monroe County plan for the use of food and beverage tax funds in accordance with IC 6-9-41-14. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes 2-0. And I believe we have an item from Mr. Schilling.
Thank you very much. Dave Schilling from the legal department, here to seek approval for an attorney's fee settlement in the Gift case. And that was a case in federal court where Gift Sign Company challenged the Monroe County zoning ordinance on several constitutional issues. And on one of those issues, excuse me, the sign permit issue, Gift was the prevailing party. Gift lost the issues that were actually applicable to its requests before the BZA, but on the one minor issue, they did prevail. And under the federal system, if someone prevails on a civil rights claim, they are able to recover attorney's fees for that issue that they prevailed on. So Gift had submitted a request to the federal district court for about $58,000 in fees and costs. And under the federal system, they use the lodestar approach to assess attorney fee requests, where in that approach, the federal judge will look at the issue, decide what the judge believes is a reasonable number of hours to spend on that issue, and what is a reasonable fee for this type of practice. And then they multiply those elements out and come up with a reasonable attorney fee. I briefly researched some of the attorney fee awards in the federal court systems that support Indiana, and it looks like it's not unusual for the federal court to reduce the fee by 50 to 55%. And there are cases in which attorney fee requests have been appealed to the Seventh Circuit, and the Seventh Circuit has issued awards of $0 in attorney's fees because the court believed that the issue wasn't that significant or worth pursuing. In this case, those factors apply to this case, I think, but you'd have to get to the Seventh Circuit to obtain that kind of a result. And if you do and you lose, you're going to have additional attorney fees from the opposing party. So the county's insurance defense counsel, Karen Pollock, negotiated with Gift's attorney for a fee of $28,000. And I just received by email a few minutes ago a written settlement agreement reflecting that. It does not have a signature line for the county at this time, but the agreement is written, and the amount of $28,000 is stated, which represents a little less than 50% of what they were seeking. I did some rough calculations estimating that probably would cover about 80 hours of legal work, which is probably reasonable, but I don't know. I think it's a lot closer to the number of hours that our council spent defending the issue. So that's yes.
So do you think you would have this agreement ready to sign today? Or should we just should I make a motion that allows you to sign for us?
I would make that motion.
Okay.
Because we can have Karen send us a signature page for the county as well.
Okay.
And we can do that. Or if one of you are going to be around today, that would be fine too.
Are you going to be here today?
Yeah.
Okay, well then, I'm going to make a motion that we approve the gift attorney fee settlement agreement, an amount of $28,000, and authorizing Commissioner Githens to sign on behalf of the Monroe County Board of Commissioners.
I'll second. And I don't, is there any public comment on this? I appreciate your very thorough explanation, Mr. Schilling. Do you have any other comment?
I don't.
Well then, I will call for a vote on the settlement fee for the gift attorney. And all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes 2-0. We are good to go.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
That concludes our work session.